Welcome into Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. Christian Gokel alongside PJ Zuko and Cam Urshry. Glad to have y'all hanging out with us on this Friday afternoon. Got so much to dive into. Got a big weekend for the Braves ahead of the All-Star break. Got a 3-game set coming up with the Marlins. Charlie Morton on the mound for the for the Braves tonight against the Marlins. Excuse me. Yeah, a big trade. All of a sudden, Charlie Morton's a Marlin.
Yeah, hope not. He's been doing pretty well lately. I want to keep him there with the Braves.
Yeah, no. Charlie Morton on the mound against the Marlins coming up tonight. And again, a big 3-game set. Cam, I'm not going to say it, but you know what will happen if the Braves win all 3 games. Now, I got to say it because we got to talk about it. If the Braves find a way to win all 3 games coming up against the Marlins, which, listen, they're the Marlins. You should win those games. We also said that about PJ's Pittsburgh Pirates, but
yeah, exactly. That's the problem, right?
Yeah, the problem with PJ's Pittsburgh Pirates is the fact you only
saying that.
That's the problem. The problem is you only took 1 game from them. But if you find a way to win 3 games against the Marlins, you are over 500 for the first time this year. That sink in, Braves fans. You'd be over 500 for the first time this year. I think, Cam, that creates a completely different narrative going into the All-Star break. If the Braves can find a way to be a game over 500 going into the All-Star break, I think that completely changes your mood, the national perspective on your team, and I think the deals that you're willing to make.
I don't know if it changes the mood necessarily. I don't know if it does that, but it does change a lot. But I mean, you keep jinxing them, Christian. We've been talking about this all year. Every time they get close to there, you say, oh, they're about to get to 500. And then next thing you know, a couple of days later, the Braves do it again. Even if they get back to 500, let's say they win all 3 games, they have a tough stretch coming ahead of them. Tampa Bay Rays, Padres.
Why are you talking about that stuff? We were talking about stuff right now. Like, don't talk about
a tough stretch.
We're trying to talk about things, man.
I mean, we have to be positive, but we have to hold the Braves to a higher standard. They went to the conference championship game last year. They was 1 game away from the World Series. So just going over 500, yeah, that's nice. But, we have to be a little bit bigger about it. So, I mean, hopefully they can win, but I'm not too confident about it.
TJ, we're trying to be upbeat on Friday, and Cam's over here projecting bad things into the future. We're just trying to be upbeat on a Friday, man.
Exactly. I did not expect that. I'm not gonna lie. You kind of
Cam's been hanging out with me for too long.
You're trying to change my whole thing here, and I get it. I mean, all I'm saying, the one problem I have with what you said is overall what you said, but also the fact that you're like, well, we keep jinxing them, man. Every time they get close to 500, we keep saying something about it. No. They're an Atlanta sports team. They're jinxed anyway. All right, it's just they were born that way or made that way. It's fine.
Wow, that hurt.
Championship.
That hurt.
It was 26 years ago now, but they've won a championship.
They are that one. I did forget about that.
Well, Atlanta United too.
My bad.
Atlanta United.
Mm-hmm. You really can't forget about the soccer teams. They are real, no matter what.
You can.
No matter what Kevin says, they're real. Anyway.
Well, they exist. I just don't know if it counts in the hierarchy of Atlanta being a cursed sports town.
Do you think
it does?
They weren't around
absolutely
enough?
0 people said after Atlanta United won that championship that there it is. There's our city's first championship in 23 years.
Listen, you need at least 20 years of pain before we really count that as a real championship.
1,000%.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I'm actually, what's funny about what Cam mentioned is like I'm kind of on the exact opposite like vibe, I guess, right now, just off of what we were talking about yesterday. And you just put everything in perspective. If momentum and good perception, good feelings going into games are a very real thing in sports, and that goes right down to the players, of course, that are actually out there playing. And man, I think it would be very uplifting for sure if you're able to go in, execute, get the bats going, not in just 1 game in this series, but all the way through, be consistent. And if you're able to build that going into the All-Star break, be over 500 for the first time this year going into the All-Star break, be ready for the most important time of the year. Because let's face it, like we've been saying it all year, it's a very long season. It's not just 60 games or anything like that. This is the time that you really want to start playing your best baseball. And you know what? We might be fools. They might go get swept in the next 3 games. Hopefully not. But if you can start building now, I think that's a lot better than anything else.
I think the most likely scenario, and just to hop on Cam's train, is they win the series, but you go into the All-Star break 1 game under 500.
Yeah.
Just because that's
it just makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. The other thing that stinks is when you look at the box score right now, you've been lacking pop in the outfield, and Miami's leader in home runs right now, Adam Duvall, has 19 home runs. And he's a guy who played for you last year. You could have had him back in the offseason, but you looked at your outfield and said, you know what? We have Marcell Ozuna, Christian Pache, and Ronald Acuna. We can afford to let Adam Duvall go. All of a sudden, you don't have Marcell Ozuna, Christian Pache, and you're watching Adam Duvall hit 19 home runs and 60 RBIs. He's on pace for 120 RBIs for the Marlins, and you could have had him back. So I think that hurts. But again, exercise some demons. Go take care of the Marlins. And quietly, Charlie Morton, who's on the bump tonight, 7-3 record going into the All-Star break. Chance to be 8-3, 3.91 ERA, which not great, but pretty dang good compared to where this rotation started. So Charlie Morton on the mound tonight, 92 innings pitched for you already, over 100 strikeouts. He's kind of becoming that piece that you signed him to be, the leader of your rotation there. Now you're just kind of waiting for Max Fried to bounce back. Ian Anderson's been really good. Drew Smyly quietly been really good lately. So the rotation you're feeling good about. You need the bats to wake up. They did in the season or the series finale, against the Pirates. Going forward, need those bats to wake up. Quickly here, guys, I wanted to touch on this story developing. The XFL, they had some conversations fall through with the CFL where they were trying, I think, to bring together the two leagues, and the CFL eventually shutting that conversation down. So now the XFL is pointing towards a 2023 return. I think a majority of the people in the office know how I feel about this. I just don't see how any of these other leagues, pro football leagues, work. I'm not saying I don't want them to work. I'm saying I don't know how they work the way that they were currently constructed. I know a big reason why the XFL didn't work this last time is because it started and then COVID hit, which is going to put a damper on a lot of things, right? But my point has always been, if you're trying to be the NFL's competitor, I don't see it ever working just because of how fiscally far behind you are. Yeah. But also, my biggest thing with these separate leagues is you could only be a fan of so many sports teams, right? How many people do you know that they're like, every weekend they have a team playing and it's like a different league, right? For the most part, you don't.
Well, especially in one sport.
Right. And so, like I was about to say, if you diversify your portfolio that much, you pretty much only have one NFL team you care about, right? That you can really emotionally care about. Now, if you're the person who just watches sports to watch sports and you're not emotionally invested in any team, yeah, fine. You're like, great, another sport I can watch. That's cool. I got the Braves, Georgia football, Atlanta Falcons, like even the Hawks for the most part take a back seat. Like I can't be emotionally invested for over 80 games during a regular season, right? It's just I think is the biggest reason why one of those leagues won't work.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And just the fact of to drive that, what do you really need? You need not only fans tuning in on whatever day you're playing, you also need fans in the stands. And
you need TV contracts. Yeah,
exactly. So I think I do look at it as a good thing. Like hopefully this is able to happen, and hopefully they're able to have that same success that they started with last time. But as you mentioned, you got to be somewhere in between. Because I feel like with the American Football League, it was very clear that they kind of understood and said that they were the quote unquote undercard, right? That we're just a developmental football league. Don't worry about. We're not trying to compete.
They felt super rushed to me though. Like there was no infrastructure there. They just wanted to get on the market before the XFL did, so they rushed everything. They had the starter uniforms, and the team that played in Florida couldn't practice. Orlando couldn't practice in Florida because they didn't have insurance in Florida. And so they had to practice, I think, at Camden County High School, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you had a quote unquote pro football team practicing at Camden County High School because they couldn't practice in their own state. And then it folded before the season could finish.
Right.
So that one felt extremely rushed. The XFL, I thought last time, was starting to garner a little bit of attention, and they were trying to do all like the wild stuff, right? Where they were changing the rules, and they're like basically everything that anyone ever complained about inside of NFL and college football. They're like, all right, cool, let's get rid of it. That's fine. Yeah, let's try that. We'll switch it up. We'll do these sideline interviews where the players are mic'd up coming off the field. Like after they just got smashed in the mouth, we're going to interview them coming off the field. So they tried all that hokey stuff. But I think my point really is, Cam, when you're going into something, you're saying we're going to be a competitor with the NFL in pro football. I just don't see that business model working.
I agree. And I look from the player's perspective. Say the player goes out and shows out in the XFL and the NFL calls. he's always going to look to go to the NFL to get more money. Whether he plays second or third string in the NFL, that's a player's dream to go to the NFL. So it's hard to compete with that in the first place. If I'm coming out of college and I'm saying XFL 1 year, NFL for the next 5-6 years, that's what I'm doing. Just from a competitive standpoint, I don't think
Sure.
they can last like that. And financially, like you said, the
You make
NFL is
in one season in the NFL than you, for the most part, could in a career, I guess, in the XFL, even though we've never really seen anybody in a career. I know they had like the one player on their team that they could sign the high contract for, kind of like they do in MLS, where they do like the waiver player, where it's like, here's your salary cap except for this guy, and you can sign this guy to a giant contract, right? And they pretty much did that with the quarterbacks in the XFL. But I mean, like Landry Jones, Cardell Jones, like those were your calling cards. In the XFL, they were flameouts in the NFL, right? I always thought it would work best if it was the opposite, because one thing you're not going to do is, which what their selling point was we're going to play when the NFL is not at the forefront. That doesn't exist anymore,
right?
The NFL has spread out their calendar so much that they dominate the calendar throughout the sports year. If it's not the draft, it's the combine, right? If it's not the combine, it's OTAs. If it's not OTAs, it's free agency. The NFL dominates news cycles now. So you're never going to come up on a time on the year where you're like, all right, we got a break from the NFL. Let's go watch some other football. The NFL dominates. But I also think, like Cam said, because of the money and the way you're trying to do this, you're eliminating yourself from a lot of good players that you probably could have in your league. I think if you brought it on like the NFL's AAA, where you have, say, 8 teams, and you have different NFL teams that are like 3 or 4 NFL teams that are affiliated with each team, and basically make them a feeder system, I think that's something that could work. But independent of the NFL, they're not going to do that. They're going to try to compete. I don't see that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good point for sure. But at the end of the day, it's about them working together, and maybe, like you said, maybe everything that we've gone through over the past 2 years and them still just trying to get it off the ground again, we'll make them realize that a little bit. That would be fantastic. But as you mentioned, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to quote unquote compete with the NFL or with any kind of football, right? Because you have the NFL, but then you also have the
second behemoth is college football,
which again still dominates with recruiting and with rule changes, meetings and expansion meetings and things like that we talk about all year long. And you're probably not going to get those diehard fans for either of those sports to go to XFL games or things like that. Maybe once or twice. Maybe they turn one on because they just want to see some football, but you're most likely not going to have those recurring people in seats, not going to have those recurring
I think their one
ratings
saving grace might be,
and that's what you really need.
And maybe in 2 years, this is a reality. I think their one saving grace, sports gambling.
Yeah.
If that becomes legal nationwide, or at least in a vast majority of states, then I think if they partner with a DraftKings or someone like that, or just they find a partner in Vegas that they can partner with to do sports gambling and make it an online thing, and maybe only put your franchises in places that offer sports betting, right? I think that's one reality in which the league could work, because if you know some degenerates like I do, they'll gamble on anything. And if you give them actual football, they're surely going to bet on that. So I think gambling might be the saving grace, but I also still think it's a long shot for any of these pro leagues not working with the NFL to come to fruition. We got to take a quick break, though. When we come back, we'll be joined by a guy who's got a camp going on later this afternoon in Savannah. The head football coach of the Savannah State Tigers, Sean Quinn, going to hop on the feed with us. We're going to talk some Savannah State football. They're not too far away from kicking off their fall schedule. Again, shortened year for them last year, like drastically. Canceled the SEAC season. They were able to play a game last year, and then a couple of practices really before the season got just completely shut down. But the year before that, their first year in the SEAC, won their side of the conference. They weren't eligible for postseason play because it was their first year in the conference. But if they were eligible, they would have been playing in a conference championship game with a shot to go to the playoffs. A lot of those players back on this 2021 team, so a team that's going to compete for a playoff spot. So we'll talk to Sean Quinn when he comes on next. This is Second Down on ESPN Radio. If you miss any portion of the show, check it out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'll be right back after this. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. We have some football going on later this afternoon in Savannah, as we are joined now by the head football coach of your Savannah State Tigers, Sean Quinn. They're hosting their Friday night light camp there at Savannah State. Coach, thanks for taking the time today, man. I know you got a busy afternoon, but always a pleasure to talk some football with you.
Yeah, man, we got our football camp. Actually, our camp tonight's at Memorial Stadium. We're doing it with the county and the city. So we'll be over at Memorial Stadium tonight. Looking forward to that. And in football mode, man, it's nearly upon us, and hopefully give you guys some more stuff to talk about than NASCAR and domination by the Suns. So, or how great the Cubs always are. Give y'all something to talk about. I know you got a few Brave fans there.
No, it's always football season here on ESPN Radio, Coach. But again, just let's get the business out of the way. You guys got your Friday night light camp going on tonight. Are you guys doing walk-ups, or is registration closed for that?
We're still doing walk-ups. We got a few spots left. So if you want to come, it's from 5 to 9. You can come register from 4 to 5. And Memorial Stadium, and we got some walk-ups. I know we got some guys coming today that called and said, hey, we're going to walk up. So you can still come and have some fun. We offered a lot of guys out of this camp the last time we did it, which was 2 years ago. So we're in the time warp. So we're back to football camps, and that's pretty fun.
Absolutely, Coach. And this not the only Friday night light camp you're doing. You're going to do another one next week, correct? Next
Friday night. Yes, sir. Same time, same bat channel over at Memorial again, and been really good. We got a ton of local guys, and you and I talked there. We just had a 7-on-7 with about 550 players and a bunch of local high schools. So that was great. And so this is the next step and helps us evaluate, and in a good way to get our name out there, and also just chance for guys to compete and get recruited.
And tell them how or what website to go to register for that camp, Coach.
It's tfasavannah.com, tfasavannah.com, and they can sign up. It's real inexpensive, and we chance to come and have some fun and compete, and there'll be a bunch of coaches there to evaluate you. So it's been a good camp, and we're excited about doing it with a lot of the locals.
Well, Coach, it's been a minute since we've talked, and so a lot to catch up with you on. First question, though. Over the holiday weekend, we watched Joey Chestnut set another record eating hot dogs. If I give you 10 minutes on the clock, how many hot dogs can Coach Quinn put down?
I could probably do 10. That
10.
Would probably, yeah. I'd probably not feel good. I once ate 134 wings in 27 minutes. So wings are a little bit easier, but I do like hot dogs. So if they're a Nathan's or Hebrew National or a good Oscar Mayer, I'm generally those three I can really eat quickly, and they taste delicious, especially if they're a little charred.
And again, Coach, since the last time we talked in the state of Georgia on July 1st, the name, image, and likeness stuff came through. Just quickly here, how have you guys approached that as a staff and facilitating that with your players?
Well, obviously, it's uncharted territory. It's kind of like when online dating first happened. You didn't know how that would be. So, if any of our guys can get deals and it's beneficial to the players, I'm all for it. I think there'll be obviously a windfall for some marquee guys. How many guys, when it's all said and done, really make enough money? Interestingly enough, one thing that I haven't talked about, if a guy gets a Pell Grant and they get this money, they can lose the Pell Grant. Which Wild. Is money. So that's $6,000. So you kind of got to really weigh your options. Is the money you're going to get be more than that? So I think it's a good thing. Obviously, you'd be interested to see. My only concern was it opened. Not everybody is scrupulous that it can create some Pandora's box and open some rabbit holes that you may not want to go to, where you got such and such setting up deals. So we'll see where it goes. It's a little bit of wild west right now, but I think it's a huge benefit to us because in our conference and in our area in Division II, we're in a marquee city that has a lot of businesses.
For sure.
So I think it can be super beneficial. So I'm sure there'll be some benefits, and we'll kind of see. We're just trying to truthfully figure it out. And it just kind of got passed, and it's like one of those laws has 800 pages. You're reading through it, trying to figure out exactly how it works.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
don't think any coach is an expert at it.
I heard someone say it best. If you say you know what's happening with name, image, and likeness, you're lying. Because no one knows. And I really, the people I feel bad for right now are the compliance officials, because they're the ones who are just having people blow up their phones right now. So they might just be, I don't know if you can still do this anymore, Coach. I don't know if you'll have a landline, but they might just leave the phone off the hook and just leave the office and be like, sorry, phone's busy. So those poor compliance folks are going through it right now.
Oh, yeah. Not a lot of fun. And the goalposts keep changing on that stuff. And a lot of it is it. I don't know if it'll be the windfall they all think for every student athlete, because how many backup position guys are going to get deals, so not everybody's a Trevor Lawrence, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Well, Coach, I got to ask though, you played at Carson Newman. What if this is past, let's just say the 10 years ago when you played there, right? About a decade since you played college football. What would your first sponsor have been?
It would have been one of the local restaurants. It had either been El Sombrero because I ate there about 3 times a week, or it would have been GNC because I bought every protein and supplement known to man when I was trying to put weight on. So I would probably been one, GNC or a good restaurant. So, or I would have, irishfashions.com or something. You never know.
There you go. I don't know.
River Dance. You never know. So
everybody always goes for the wide receivers and the quarterbacks. I always thought the most marketable people on the team were the linemen, man.
Oh, definitely. They're the most lovable and usually really the best looking. Skill guys are overrated. So no offense to the other folks on this call.
1,000%. I mean, listen, the quarterbacks are the ones you date. The linemen are the ones you marry and take home to your parents and all that. I mean, look, they'll cook you a great meal. They'll protect you. The linemen, they're really just the best of all of us right there. Big fan of all the offensive linemen and defensive linemen out there. All right, Coach, we're seeing all the college football magazines start to come out. They're previewing all these teams. I don't know if we're going to get a D2 copy of the magazine. So we're putting it on you, man. Break down and preview for us the 2021 Savannah State Tigers, because we were talking in the last segment, man. I feel like this is a team that's competing for a playoff spot.
I think we have a good football team, but, obviously we're not going to be nearly as talented as most of the teams in our league, won't be as big or as fast as anybody in our league. So we got a long way to go. I think we got a chance to be good, but we got to play team ball. And, one thing you hear a lot of times, you want to eliminate bad football and you don't make critical mistakes with turning the football over. If you do those and play good defense, I think you got a chance. But we do have a lot of guys with experience. And, the biggest thing for me is the chemistry. This is a new year, a new bunch, and we got a lot of new players coming in. So at our level, Division II, it's a little bit more transactional in the sense of it's a little bit more like junior college. You have a lot more new faces every year versus, at a bigger school, you may have your guys there more year round than we are able to. So for us, it's a little bit like, when we get into camp, how are we going to be as a team? And I think we got a chance to be a really good football team, but that doesn't give us a single win. And like I said, from a talent perspective, there'll be a lot of other teams that are more talented than us. We just got to be a good football team that plays well, plays hard, and cares about each other. And if we do that, I think we'll have a chance to be in every game and win every game.
So and a ton of production returning on the offensive side of the ball, Coach. People are getting out in the stadium and watching you guys. Who are the ones they need to be looking out for?
Well, we were just talking about the linemen. I think we have a good group up front, but at quarterback, Devon Gibbons has done a really good job. This will be his 4th year as a starter. D'Angelo Durham is a good tailback. We've got some really good young wide receivers that I really like. Dante Devereaux, Brent Carr, and like I said, for us, we got to figure out who our tight end is going to be. We got a local guy, Julian Roberts from Memorial, that's the starter right now. We'll see if he can hold that spot. And then we got a good young kicker from Bradwell, another one from Claxton. I think are going to be really good for us. A long snapper from the area. So I think we'll have a chance. All those guys will be fun guys to watch.
Something about those South Georgia kickers, man. You got Younghoe Koo from Georgia Southern with the Falcons. You got South Georgia kickers all over the SEC, ACC. Got one kicking for you. Something about those South Georgia kickers, man. But, Coach, I did want to ask you about this because this is something else we've been talking about. We've been kind of trying to make a push that now everything's reopening in the state of Georgia. People are out looking for things to do. I don't think there's much more entertaining things than going out and watching a live sporting event. And the fact that the city of Savannah has its own college football team that's going to be playing games in front of fans coming up this fall, I can't think of anything more fun to do on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, here's the thing I challenge you. I know everybody's got their allegiances. They're Georgia fans, Georgia Southern, Georgia Tech. They can all be Tiger fans. It's very inexpensive. You can get a great seat. You can tailgate. You can show up an hour before the game, 30 minutes before the game. You'll be home in 20 minutes. And hopefully we put a good product and win some football games. And I think if you get around our players, you'll enjoy them. So I challenge you to come out. And everybody that I've gotten to come enjoyed it. And so we're excited about the group that we got coming up, and we're excited to get some folks in the stands and have a bunch of fun.
There you go, Sean Quinn, head football coach of the Savannah State Tigers. They got a football camp going on tonight. So if you are a recruit out there, you have a recruit in your household that's looking to earn a scholarship. You said until 4 o'clock, from 4 to 5, Coach, they can still register.
4 to 5 registration. Yes, sir. Camp starts at 5.
So there you go. Head football coach of the Savannah State Tigers, Sean Quinn. Coach, we always appreciate it, man. We're going to have to set up a hot dog eating contest between you and Cam.
I appreciate
Nah.
Cam will probably kick my butt, but I'll take a gander at it. That'll be fun, and we can throw some bratwurst in there. I'll definitely give him a run for his money.
There you go. I could probably put down 3 or 4 of those, no problem. Coach Sean Quinn, kind enough to join us here on Second Down. Coach, we'll talk to you soon, man.
Talk to you guys soon. Go Tigers.
And Cam, we were saying it there, man. You live in the city of Savannah, and it's Saturday afternoon. You have high-level football taking place right down the street from you. There's no reason why, if you're a football fan, you shouldn't be in the stadium.
Yeah, there's no reason why. And I could personally say, being an alumni of Savannah State, he changed the culture and the atmosphere down there. It was very live. The last time we seen them play football with fans, very live, good football, good product on the field. So, I'll definitely be out there watching some games, enjoying that atmosphere and tailgating. That's the beautiful part of Savannah State, tailgating in the atmosphere. But you're right. I mean, they need to get out there and support. You got a college football team in town.
Again, 2019, Sean Quinn's first year as a head coach at Savannah State there. They win their side of the SEAC, but because they had just joined, they were not eligible to make postseason play. That was voted on by the other schools inside the conference. Nothing to do with Savannah State itself, but that was voted upon, as I mentioned, by the other schools in the conference. But a vast majority of those football players back, and he stacked together a couple of really good recruiting classes with a lot of local guys from the city of Savannah. I know he's been headed down the coast. Some guys from McIntosh, Brunswick, Glenn Academy. He's reached down to Camden and been over towards Valdosta as well. So a ton of local guys as well there at Savannah State. So a really cool thing going on with the Tigers. You should get out and show your support whenever you can, because, again, you got the Savannah Bananas playing baseball. You got the Savannah State Tigers playing some high-level college football right down the road from you. Got to take a quick break here, though. We'll come back with more right here on Second Down. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. Guys, it's Friday. We like to have fun on Fridays. I mean, at least we do. Cam's trying to bring the show down.
For real, man.
Talking about depressing things.
We're trying.
Realist over here.
Cam's like, listen, I know they have a chance to beat the Marlins, who are 10 games under 500, and that's a fine story. But have you seen the rest of the schedule? Have you looked at it? It's gonna be brutal. Cam, let's just live in the now, man. And in the now, we have some DraftKings NFL betting lines to get to. So what I'm going to do here is provide you with what lines we're discussing, and I just need which way you would put your Monopoly money on these bets. So you guys with me on this?
Yeah, you know me. You had to say that because that's the only way I'll do it. Like, I protect my money, man. I'm trying to put it all up.
Very frugal.
Try to be.
Me, not so much. All right, Cam, let's get it started. I'll let you go first there. Matty Ice, new head coach, no Julio Jones, but you do get Kyle Pitts in there. DraftKings has him set at 4,500 passing yards. You going over or under that?
I will go under. And reason why, that doesn't mean he's not going to have a successful season. I could see them being more balanced with Arthur Smith. You brought in Mike Davis at running back. I could just see them being more balanced and not just airing it out like that. Matt Ryan, he's going into his older days now. He's getting a little bit older. But I could see about 4,100, 4,200.
PJ?
Yeah, I'll put it at the under as well. And I understand the hype around it. I would love to see that as well from Matty Ice. I certainly wouldn't put it past him. But for this year, breaking in some new stuff. And I know Kyle Pitts is going to be huge for this offense, believe me. But then again, of course, losing Julio Jones, I think you still have the over-the-top yardage and things like that, right? But I think you do lose some of that. I think the main impact with Kyle Pitts is going to be completions and touchdowns in the red zone, to me.
Yeah, so 800 yards would be a huge season for Kyle Pitts.
Oh, no doubt. But I mean, I think that's where you'll see your impact. So hopefully more touchdown conversion drives, hopefully more successful red zone impact and things like that. So I'd rather see that touchdown number go up for Matt Ryan rather than the yardage.
And see Mike Davis get a bunch of yards.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, that's where I think you're going to see the impact, not necessarily those yards. So I'll take the under as well.
All right, so I'm putting a couple things together. Number one, only twice since 2012 has Matt Ryan not thrown for more than 4,500 yards, and you're bringing in a guy who turned Ryan Tannehill into one of the better quarterbacks. I'll say he's top 15, one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Arthur Smith was able to do that as his offensive coordinator. I'm going to go over 4,500 yards, maybe just like 4,700 yards for Matt Ryan. I don't think he's going to go for 5,000 or anything like that. Other thing you're forgetting, 17-game season too.
It's very true.
17-game season.
He had in his back pocket
about that.
Game season. So, you got the pro board and the con board. I'm getting way more pros on this side over here. So I'm going to take the over for Matty Ice on 4,500 passing yards. All right, going down the coast a little bit, Trevor Lawrence, rookie quarterback there for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Don't know he's been named the starter yet, but it's pretty much assumed that he's going to be the guy for the Jacksonville Jaguars all year. You don't draft a guy number one in this day and age of the NFL and not play him immediately, right? Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence, he's had his over-under set for passing yards, 4,150 for Trevor Lawrence. Cam, you going over or under that?
Yeah, give me over. 17-game season, like you said. I'm just impressed. I know that might be the rookie. No,
Herbert, we're taking all the overs now because 17 games. Right? We're taking all.
Yeah, but I think he's going to air it out a lot this year. So I'll take over. I really do.
Understandable. I will go with the under on this one as well. Not saying he's not going to have a successful and very good year, but of course, breaking in the offense, catching up to NFL speed. And then, of course, you have, I think, kind of a constant problem in Jacksonville is his weapons, right? Who around him. I mean, I know you have some weapons there, but I don't know if you have the weapons.
DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault alone.
I don't know if those guys are going to give him enough to get him, over the 4,000 yard mark. Not saying he's going to have a bad season by any means, but he's going to have to play catch up a little bit. I don't think he's going to start amazingly hot. Maybe he builds that up in the latter games of the season, but I just think there's too much to get used to. And if he had 2 or 3 just immaculate weapons on the outside, then I would be more confident. But while those guys are very respectable, I'm going to keep the under with him on that one.
All right. So only twice in NFL history has a rookie quarterback gone over that. 2012, Andrew Luck. He's the all-time leader for rookie passing yards. You guys know who number 2 is?
Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
Yep.
Last year with the Chargers, and I think PJ maybe talked me out of it because I was going to go with the over, but I'm thinking back, and Andrew Luck had Reggie Wayne.
Yeah.
And who were the other ones?
Did he have T.Y. Hilton at that point?
No.
They had Dallas. No, not Dallas Clark. Dallas Clark wasn't there.
No, I'm trying to think of the dude, the receiver with the visor. Anyway, before we start talking about early 2010s Colts, Andrew Luck had a weapon, and then Justin Herbert had a plethora of wide receivers last year to throw to, some really good, like top 20 wide receivers, at least 2 of them, I'd say, out there with the Chargers. I don't see that with the Jaguars. I think Laviska Shenault is going to be the breakout player for the Jaguars this year. I already said I think Travis Etienne is going to go over 1,000 yards this year, combined rushing and receiving. Obviously, James Robinson already 1,000-yard back in his rookie year. I'll say under. I think he'll start bumping up against that 4,000-yard mark, but I'm going to go under. Luckily for him, though, the game that got added was the Atlanta Falcons. So that's the secondary that he got added to his schedule. So maybe that does bump him up over the over. But I'll take the under right now, but just under for Trevor Lawrence. All right. Tim Tebow.
Oh, Lord.
Over under 12.5 receiving yards. 12.5
for the whole season.
He's 1 first down. Cam,
over. Over.
So you're saying Tim Tebow makes the team and registers a stat?
Yeah. They have a package for Tebow on a passing play. A few packages actually. So yeah, I think so. That sounds realistic. That sounds very realistic.
I'll take the over as well, because if we were just talking about football things and not business things, then he would not make the team as the tight end.
Here's what's interesting about that. Because the thing that people have been saying this entire time is, oh, you signed Tim Tebow so the Jaguars jersey sales go up, right? He had like the number 1 jersey on NFL.com for a while. It might still be the number 1, right? Listen to an Inside the NFL podcast. The Jaguars don't get that money. That is a NFL and NFLPA pooled money. So anytime a jersey gets sold, that gets brought into a fund that gets evenly distributed to the NFL teams and to the players. Like the players get a check.
What about fan attendance, though?
Fan attendance, that I'd have to listen to, but I think that is more with the Jaguars. But in terms of like the jersey sales and all that, that kind of got squashed by saying like, listen, that's not the Jaguars money. That's just NFL money that gets redistributed out. So that was fascinating to me. So I'm starting to think maybe this dude makes the damn team, because
Right.
like that's not the reason they brought him in. If that's that's fictional, that there's for jersey sales.
Yeah. Maybe they just actually believe in him. And who
Urban
knows?
Meyer just loves him. Maybe he has something dirty on Urban Meyer.
I mean, he really, I'm not going to say that, but he really does love him and have that chemistry with him. And if there's anyone that's going to give him a chance, it's going to be Urban Meyer. And same thing with the other way
All
around.
right, so quickly, over under.
Sorry, my bad. Over. Yeah.
Over.
For sure.
I'll take the over too. I hate myself for it. All right, quickly here. Derrick Henry, Cam, over under 1,550 rushing yards. They got Julio
Under.
Jones, AJ Brown.
Under. Give me the under. Yeah. New offense too. So give me the under.
PJ.
I'll go under to new offense, and not only that, you have the wide receivers, but also you don't see running backs and one offensive system just dominate year after year after year in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's NFL not for long, right? For a reason.
Wow.
So people, even with Derrick Henry and the monster he is, people will adjust.
All right, quickly here. Bears starting quarterback week 1. Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, Nick Foles.
Justin Fields.
Week
Give
1.
it to me.
You got him
Yep.
week 1. PJ.
Week 1.
Yeah, I'll take Fields.
Give me Andy Dalton week 1. I think Fields will end up being the starter, but Andy Dalton. Patriots, Cam Newton, Mac Jones, or Jarrett Stidham week 1.
Cam Newton. Come on.
Cam.
Newton.
Cam. All right. Saints, Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, or Ian Book week 1.
Famous Jameis. I'll go James Winston.
I think if they were, I'll go with Taysom just because he's done it for the. Well, I mean, I'll go with Taysom Hill. But if we're talking about end of the season, that's different. But starting, Taysom Hill.
Give me Jameis, but I think it's because it would create more storylines if Jameis doesn't get the start. I think you can start Jameis and still pull him and put Taysom in for his own set packages. Even though we saw this past year when Drew Brees was out, it was Taysom Hill's team. But give me Jameis to get the first snap week 1 for the New England Saints is just a that sounds like a curse.
Please no.
All right, last two quickly here. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Who's your pick, Cam?
Oh, wow. I'll go Lawrence because he's going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Lawrence is the highest rated in terms of Offensive Rookie of the Year current at DraftKings. You can get him for plus 300. PJ, who you got?
You know what? I'll go with Kyle Pitts because I do believe in the impact he's going to make on that offense.
I'm all for a bang for your buck kind of a situation here. Give me Justin Fields going off plus 700. He's on a contender right now. Give me Justin Fields. All right, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Cam.
Defensive Rookie of the Year, Patrick Surtain. Broncos.
Surtain.
I think he had 4 or 5 interceptions this year. Yep.
PJ?
I don't even have to look at the page, man. It's Micah
Parsons.
Parsons. All right, he's going to have the biggest impact on one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Come on. Micah's got it.
Give me the local guy, Jamin Davis, Long County Zone, Washington football team, inside linebacker, cracking skulls on that really good defense with the Washington football team. Give me Jamin. We'll rock with that. There you go. So a little gambling here on Second Down. Take a quick break. We'll come back. Final segment of Second Down next.
Don't do it to him.
Second down on ESPN Radio. Final segment before the weekend, guys. I don't know if you saw the news, but Deontay Wilder is looking for a new partner in that matchup, that prize fight coming up, because Tyson Fury has tested positive for COVID-19. So listen, there's an open card with Deontay Wilder, all like what, 6'8" of him, with his arms that are longer than PJ's entire body. Here's my question. The three of us paired up and became his matchup. How many seconds do we last in the ring?
All three of us.
All three of us
Okay.
are fighting Deontay Wilder.
Are we allowed to run around?
Oh, what were you gonna say?
Cam?
Are we allowed to run around?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
He
fair.
has to chase you down, but you can't leave the ring.
I give us a minute tops.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that.
I don't know, man. I think like we're pretty shifty though. Like collectively, that's the great thing. Like honestly, about like me and you, Cam, is Christian is shifty in his own right, but I feel like we just kind of throw him at Wilder, like just kind
Great. Now, okay.
yeah, throw him at the wolves a little bit, and
Yeah.
we keep running around and just trying to get as far away as possible. I think a minute 30, something like that.
Yeah, Kirsten, you work out, so you can take them.
Yeah, you can take
Few
it.
seconds.
Lifting weights has nothing to do with getting punched in the jaw.
You can take it for at least like 10, 15
You
seconds.
can't work out
Yeah.
your jaw.
You got it, man. It's fine.
10, 15 seconds, man. Bob and weave.
Then just buy us some
I
time.
see him collaterally us. Like he hits me first, but then the follow through hits PJ, who's out before he hits the floor.
Yeah.
And the very end of it is Cam, and it's over.
You'd be falling, and your elbow would just like clock me right in the temple.
Yeah, he just goes,
Yeah,
"Brrr," and all three of us out, done, over.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, those dudes are strong, man. Nah. Minute tops.
I mean, I think that might be like one of the baddest dudes on the planet.
Yeah, but
Like, no problem.
we get paid though, right?
Oh, 1,000%.
All right. Let's
No,
see.
Oh, I'm here for it.
Throw 'em up.
I'm here for it.
I'm
I'm here.
I'm stepping in the ring for that purse. Three and
Oh,
out coming up next here on ESPN Radio. Stick around for the 5 o'clock hour. The guys will be joined by college football expert Phil Steele. That's up next on 3 and Out.